Hey, this is Dan with Guardian Mold Prevent, and I wanted to take a look today with you at a basement located in Carroll Stream, Illinois. We're looking around the basement here, and you can see that it doesn't appear to be any mold on the painted finished surfaces of the basement. The trim looks very clean, the door casing looks clean, and everything appears to be okay. But when we get on the unfinished side of the wall in the utility area, you can see that quite a bit of mold has actually developed in this basement. We get asked all the time if it's possible to have a mold problem even if you can't see it. The answer to that question really is dependent upon how much moisture has gotten into an area and how long it's stayed wet. Finished surfaces will be more resistant to mold growth because the paint coating actually gives, while paint is a food source for mold, it can be a little bit more resistant to the mold growth. But the backside of drywall, the paper surfaces, they're very susceptible. So when we come into a project like this, the first thing we do is we try to determine what types of materials are present that are affected. And we break it down into three different categories. You've got porous material, so the drywall, trim, insulation, pressboard, items like that get classified as porous. And then semi-porous materials would basically be the wood framing members in the basement. And non-porous materials are your concrete floor and your foundation walls. Now, once we've got those classified, then we look at putting together a scope of work. The first thing we do is we set up containment in the work area, make sure we're not cross-contaminating the rest of the living space. We then put in air machines or negative air machines or air scrubbers, depending on the terminology you're familiar with, but nonetheless machines that run the air through HEPA filtration. We then physically discard and remove all of the porous material that's affected, so your drywall, trim, insulation gets pulled out. And then we treat all of the non-porous and semi-porous surfaces, so your concrete and your wood, with a biocide, which is a product that kills mold on contact, and then we treat them with a mold-resistant coating. Most of the time it's white and it's got an acrylic base to it. Now, we're not looking at the very same basement, but I want you to be able to see what the project would look like if it were completed. You can see that all of the drywall, the trim, and the insulation have been removed from this particular basement from the ground up about 4 foot. Once we got all that drywall out, we then scrubbed everything down with a biocide. Again, the product that we use to kill mold on contact. We then physically scrub all of these surfaces, HEPA vacuum them, make sure they're very clean, and we prep them to take this white acrylic-based mold-resistant coating. Now, this coating does come with a manufacturer's warranty that it won't support mold growth on itself, and we then leave our air machines running while the project is going, obviously, but then we also run them for 2 to 3 days afterwards to continue to run the air through HEPA filtration. I'll show you a picture very quickly of what that machine looks like, and this is an item that will set Joe Handyman, who promises you he can take care of your mold problem, apart from a professional mold remediation company that's certified and insured to do that type of work. It's a machine that we use to pull all the air through HEPA filtration, remove the spores, and get the air quality back to an acceptable level in the living space. We don't want to just remove materials, we also want to remove the mold spores from the air and make it acceptable.